Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Saturday morning, and this is Multifamily Unplugged. So glad that you're here this morning. Buckle up for this ride because I think that we're going to all get a lot out of this one this morning. Hey, if you're new to the show, welcome. Glad that you're here. Thank somebody who invited you or told you about the show. Make sure you have a cup of coffee in your hand this morning. I hope you're enjoying your weekend, whether you are working or taking some time off, but make the most of it. Want to remind you, coming up in October 17th and 18th, is my 5th annual virtual multifamily summit. Hey, this year is action-packed. Over 20 speakers and panelists that are going to share their journey with you in the multifamily business, everything from getting started or doing your next deal to how to raise capital, to underwriting, to we're going to have a panel on of top performers who've done over 100,000 units in the last 10 years. Can you imagine the techniques and systems you might be able to pick up there? We're going to have a panel on raising capital. Dugan Kelly's going to be on, our securities attorney. We're going to have Michelle Fitzpatrick on, a little tongue-tied this morning. Michelle Fitzpatrick on, talking about 1031 exchanges and how that can work into your business. So make sure you get registered. Go to multifamily24.com and get registered right now. Hey, let's jump into it today. My guest is Jill Jensen with Sonos Capital from Utah. I'm going to bring Jill in right now. Hey, good morning.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking.
Great. So this is actually the first time that we've had to meet. And I had heard you on another podcast recently and really liked a lot of the things that you were talking about. Why don't we do this first? I typically like to start in the morning with asking one question of my guests. Okay. I always say I'm going to write a book on this. I probably have asked this question 300 times. So, but in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
Value.
Value. Interesting. Value. And where does that come from?
I think first, personally, I have a lot of values that I hold just as an individual. And my motto is, if I can bring value to other people, I know that I can make money from it. And kind of the thought of being a go-giver. The more that I give, I know the more I'll receive. And being in the mobile home park space, it's so cool because it's such an amazing avenue for investors and how I'm raising capital. So I'm helping someone make money. I'm also helping the less fortunate provide true affordable housing. So creating value for both spectrums of people trying to get their money working for them and those that are looking for affordable housing.
So that's pretty awesome. So I would ask you, have you always had those types of values, or, was there something in your life that caused that to happen along the way?
Definitely. Came down to my parents. I grew up in a home that was very tight knit. All my siblings, we get along. We still all live within 3 miles of each other. Okay. So we have a lot of camaraderie as a family. And the example my mother set was she was a go-giver. I don't know how many times I've done service projects or visiting the old ladies, taking them cookies or trying to find ways to help other people. And in return, it's just come back tenfold with the relationships I've built. What is life all about? And it's finding ways to help people. So looking for ways to do it personally, but also professionally.
That's pretty interesting. I have to say, I asked that question. I said I've probably asked it 300 times over the last few years, right? Yeah. And I don't think anybody's ever said value. So we'll have to put that up front in the book.
I like it. I like to be different. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So how about a little background about you? What you were doing before, how you got in the multifamily or the mobile home space, and what your business looks like today.
Perfect. Let's just dive into it. So Let's just start off with this. The only W-2 job I've had was in high school. So I've always just been entrepreneurial mindset of how can I kind of make my own choices when it comes to making money, not having a job. I started in the door-to-door world when I was in my early 20s, selling pest control.
Okay.
And fast forward, my former husband and we recruited sales reps and teams. We had a nationwide pest control company. So then we had hundreds of sales reps knocking doors for us, managing, training, thousands of customers, multi-million dollars annually. And then fast forward from there, I got bought out of that pest control company and I was left in a position with sufficient funds. And I was like, I know I have enough money to make me money. How do I get my money working for me? And I asked myself the question of, what do a lot of wealthy people have in common? And they're in real estate. I was like, they all have real estate. So I got to learn that game. And I didn't have any experience. I didn't have anyone in my circle. I didn't want to tell the people in my circle because I didn't want them to talk me out of it.
Right.
And so where do we turn? The internet. And I just started networking. I got around the right people. I found a mentor. And my motto was find the person that's best at what it is I'm trying to do, and then just go bring value to them and kind of hold on to their coattail and learn from them. So a person with money, I didn't want to lend to I'm going to say it politely, but a struggling financial person that needed my money. I wanted to lend with someone who's already been lending their money for years and can kind of show me the ropes.
Yeah.
So I wasn't looking for high returns. I was just looking to learn how to do it.
Interesting. So what was the first lesson you learned about that?
Loan to own. Don't lend on a deal if you're not willing to own the worst case scenario.
That's a great message for a passive investor.
Yes. Yes. And so I don't know how to underwrite. I don't know how to vet a deal. And I was like, how can I overcome lending without being the one vetting these deals? And the biggest thing came down to the collateral that I could hold from the person I was lending my money to. So it really comes down to the paperwork, how it's structured. And as long as my collateral is worth more than my loan, then I'm okay owning the worst case scenario, because I actually came out on top because let's say it's a different cash flowing property that they own. Okay, the fix and flip flops. Well, I hold hostage your other cash flowing property. So far I haven't lost any money.
Oh, interesting. Good for you. So how'd you get in the mobile home business?
Oh, that's a funny story.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. She was 8 at the time. My 8-year-old daughter asks, Mom, do you work? Because I'm stay at home. I can work from home. And I thought I was doing a service when they came home from school. Mom gave full attention. Like, I'm a single mom giving them all this attention. And then I realized she's going to think money grows on trees because they never see me working. And so I was like, okay, I'm an investor. Let me just show you what it's like, though. I gave her $25 and I said, let's go to Walmart. We did the lemonade stand thing. And then I said, you owe me $30 at the end of the day. I said, there's this thing called interest. You owe me $5. She's like, what if I don't?
You're tough.
I know. Good interest rate. And so then she said, what if I don't make $30? And I said, well, you have another lemonade stand and you have a late fee. That's another $5. Or you give me a personal guarantee and we go to your savings account and you pay me. And I was like, but then you own your own business. This is great. So she made $46. So she owns her own lemonade stand. The reason I tell you that story is because I posted about it on a real estate Facebook group page that I'm in. And I said, don't forget to teach your kids what you do. Invest in them. I invest in lemonade stands, but also in your deals. So send them my way. And a woman named Deb reached out to me and she said, hey, I'm looking at a mobile home park with another partner. And at first I was like, mobile home parks? I don't know about that. And then when I saw that the gentleman hadn't raised rents in 50 years, he was charging $60. I was like, okay, I don't know a lot, but I know that $60 in rent on 40 units, there might be some skin in the game here. So thanks to my daughter asking a question, I posted about it and it led me to someone who is looking for a partner for mobile home parks.
That's awesome. And so what is, who is Sonos Capital today?
Okay, that's a great question. So the first mobile home parks I purchased were with a different partner. And that's just where the concept came in and I started understanding mobile home parks, the cash flow, the business strategy behind it. Fast forward, I came in contact with Walter Jensen, and he's the owner of Sonos Capital. And I have gotten to where I am in my business because of the amount of networking I do. Anyone I meet, I'm like, what do you do? And what do you need in your business? What do you need in life? Okay, now let me tell you what I need. And so online, it said his occupation as a real estate investor. So I just sent him a message. I don't actually know him, but I just said, let's talk investing. And he's like, okay. He's like, I have a fund for mobile home parks. And I was like, oh, interesting. I own mobile home parks and I'm also a lender. So I was interested.
Funny how that happens.
Isn't that interesting? You just start talking to people. And I looked once again, member value. I'm trying to see what kind of values he has as a person, not just how does he do business, but I invest in people, not so much the deal. Anyways, so fast forward, he's like, this is how I acquire mobile home parks. He's really strategic. He's got 20 years experience, and all these different things that I was drawn to his business for. Well, I'm really good at communicating. I owned a pest control company. I sold over 1,000 pest control accounts. And I was like, I want to do what I'm really good at. And that's raising capital. I don't want to find the deals. I don't want to manage. I don't want to underwrite. I just want to go raise the capital. I just need a partner that has the deals. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about Sonos Capital and kind of what we're all about. So if you were to invest, it is a fund. So you're able to invest whether we have a deal right in front of us or not. It's a 10% preferred return. So every year you're getting a 10% preferred on what you invest. We split the cash flow 50-50 with our investors, along with when we sell the park at year 6. We pay quarterly distributions. And in year 3, we refinance and we're able to get usually around 70% of our investors' money back by year 3 to year 4. We keep increasing the rents and let it cash flow a couple more years, and then we exit at year 6. We're usually able to get around a 3x on someone's return. And what's awesome is the tax advantages. I didn't know this, but single family homes depreciate over 27 years, where mobile home parks, they actually depreciate within 15.
Oh.
And we can take bonus depreciation year 1.
See, I didn't know that about mobile home parks, because in apartments, it's over 37 and a half years. But we take that bonus depreciation also. So that's interesting. 15 years. So
15 years. And so it's the land, the depreciation off the land, how we're increasing the land value. And also it varies every park because it also depends upon, like, if we're bringing in some new homes. So we're buying some real estate as well.
Interesting.
So like last park we purchased, it was 60% occupied and 40% unoccupied. And some of the homes we've demolished and we're bringing in new homes. And so the gentleman, we're going to look at rent, where it's kind of hard to comp a mobile home park because they're not on every corner.
Right.
You have to be really strategic and know how you're going to increase value, not just base it off of the comps. And so go ahead.
Are you in specific markets that you like more than others?
Yes.
What makes you like a market?
The Midwest, landlord friendly.
Okay. Right.
Red states, away from water. So you take in insurance, sorry, California and Florida. We love to visit, just not the ideal places to purchase mobile home park. So right now we're looking at a 12 park portfolio in North and South Carolina. We also have a large portfolio we're looking at in Arizona. The last park we purchased, it's 102 units, is also in Arizona. So those are kind of some of the locations. Personally, I own some in West Virginia.
Are these distressed properties that you're going in, and are you replacing? So when in, I have a ton of questions, but are you renting the mobile home, or are you just renting the land?
That is a perfect question. There are different business models for how people make money off of mobile home parks. And ours is to sell all of the homes. We want to just be collecting rent on the land, so the pad. The reasons why is a few things. We genuinely want to provide affordable housing. And so we're getting these homes at wholesale price because my partner is a dealer and we're selling them at that wholesale price. So at the discounted rate, we're not making money off of the actual home themselves. And from there, we're able to sell the home quickly, provide affordable housing, and we want to start collecting rent quickly on the pad. What this does is that means there's low maintenance because they all own their own homes. Average person stays in a mobile home 14 years. Low turnover. Where if you're renting, or let's just take an apartment, for example, the average person stays 2.5 years in an apartment. So running a fund, having all of the homes sold, we don't have to have as much management because there's not as much turnover. Also, we're not getting calls to fix the toilet or the leak in the ceiling because we don't actually own the home. So less turnover, less maintenance, which means less costs. Then there's high cash flow and high tax advantages. Interesting.
So I know that a lot of what you do is you work on raising capital. I want to circle back a little bit. You said, one of your greatest skills is networking. Let's talk about networking a little bit. Where are you finding the best events? What types of events do you go networking at? What's that look like for you in your daily business model?
Are you ready to skyrocket your investment portfolio and leave a legacy? Are you tired of inconsistent returns received in the stock market? Do you think that it may be time you take a look at alternative investment options? Passive investing in multifamily real estate could just be that option for you. With no tenants, trash, or toilets to take care of, but providing a solid return on an annual basis that outperforms traditional investing, including monthly and quarterly returns along the way. These lower risk, secure assets are a sure hedge against inflation. If you want to learn more about these types of opportunities, you can email me directly for a 15-minute consultation to see if you qualify. Just email me at mike@mikemorawski.com.
Mike, this is like a perfect question. And this is like what I'm passionate about talking about.
That's because we both do this and we're going to learn from each other right now.
I'm like, you can't have real estate without money, and everybody needs more of it. And also my motto is, if I can solve a rich person's problem, they're going to pay me. And a lot of people have money that need them just be working. They just need their money put somewhere.
Right.
And so it's a matter of finding those people. here's the key thing. I went to a convention called Raise Fest, and it was all about raising capital. So I go to these events and I'm trying to look for one golden nugget. I'm also looking for certain types of people when I go in there. So yeah, it's great to network, but it's like I'm going in there with a purpose. I need this type of partner. I need this type of information, or I need this much money, whatever it is. The one thing I took from there was find your avatar on who you want to raise capital from. You can buy real estate. You can have a portfolio of all these random different things and be kind of okay at them. Or you can get really good at multifamily or really good at wholesaling. They gave the same concept with raising capital. They're like, you could raise money from a bunch of random people, or you could get really good at understanding retirement accounts because there's trillions of dollars, and just go raise capital in that one avenue. I was like, okay, what's my avatar? And mine is investor groups. I'm raising capital off of other investors. But there's so many other avenues of where there's money that they don't have to be an actual investor.
Right.
And so my second thought was, I'm going to take my old business model when I was in pest control, because I had sales reps, managers, business partners, and they all went and sold pest control accounts for me. I was like, I'm just going to go find 10 avatars to raise capital for me.
Right.
And so I've been looking for, now I know what to look for. So I have one woman who helps with retirement accounts. So that's the language she speaks. She helps with self-directed. And then they're like, hey, Cindy, I trust you. What are you doing in real estate? And she's like, I have a fund. I do mobile home parks. So that's her avenue. And another gentleman, go ahead.
No, interesting, I said.
Yeah. And another gentleman was like, I'm a pilot instructor for Southwest. And I just have access to, I teach this pilot who makes 300,000. I'm teaching him how to make 600,000. And I'm like, see, he has an avatar of pilots.
Right.
Now we have access to this certain avenue. And so now I've just connected with people, and that's why I ask, what do you do for a living?
Right.
Because they might be a perfect candidate. They just don't even know it. They have a network of people. And so a lot of times it's other people that are thinking about starting a fund. And I ask them, why do you want to start a fund? Well, because I have this big connection of friends with money. And I think I have to start a fund in order to like leverage their money.
Right.
And I'm like, or we just leverage their money, but you don't have to do all the brunt work.
Right. So it sounds like you bring together capital raise partners from different segments of occupation to help you raise capital for your fund.
Very well said. Yep.
Awesome. I think that's one of the greatest ways to work on raising capital today, is not to put all your efforts in yourself, but to help empower other people to help get the end result done. I want to circle back before I ask this next question, but I want to just circle back to your mobile home strategy. Do you guys take non-accredited investors, or is it all accredited investors in what you're doing?
Good question. This current fund is accredited investors.
Okay.
We will in the future have another one for non-accredited, but currently it is for accredited investors.
Okay, awesome. So I want to talk some more about raising capital. I think that part of your model is that you do investor events.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about, your investor events a little bit and how you get investors to that event?
That's a great question. I have a team that's able to run leads and send out direct mail to certain people that fit the criteria of what accredited investor is. And then we invite them to either a lunch or a dinner. Next Saturday, I'll be in San Diego on a yacht, pitching a bunch of investors who all live within the area. And so it's direct mail. And so we do it multiple ways, but one is we do direct mail, and then they RSVP and they call and say they would like to attend. And So far this week, I've had about 30 people I've personally talked to. They've called. I've gotten to get to know them before the lunch even comes. Crack jokes, get to know who they are a little bit, where they've been, making friends before they show up. And then we'll host a dinner. I'll go through my investor deck. And then really, I just love the idea of getting like-minded individuals physically connecting with each other that are in the same area, the same town. And then we have an extra hour and a half just to network on the boat and hang out. And so far it's been a good avenue on how to also raise capital.
And I imagine you go to specific markets where there is high net worth individuals that you are looking to attract into your business. And the direct mail piece is interesting, right? Because I think there's so much noise on social media, on email today, on texting, that I think that's a lost piece of history that people don't use anymore. And the direct mail piece, what is your, what's your return on investment from that look like lately?
It just depends on how many people come to the dinners. Sometimes we'll have 5 or 7, and then the next one I have 30 people that have RSVP'd. So it just kind of depends on the market, and we're strategic on the time of year, and also having multiple people that are networking or like raising capital with me. They all can do their own in their own cities, or we'll send one to go down to Dallas, or like I'll be in San Diego and Phoenix and things like that. So
interesting. And so, can I ask, what does it cost you to put an event on, like this event in San Diego?
That's actually a good question that I don't have an answer for, because I'm just the person that shows up and presents.
Wow. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
Sonos Capital takes care of it, but it's pretty, I want to say it's kind of expensive, like $10,000 to $15,000, because you have to send out direct mail. We're renting a boat. We are paying for a meal, champagne, yeah.
Yeah. But here's what I would say about that, right? And we've looked at that. So you could do the same thing, but maybe not get the same results. The results could be different from spending $3,000 a month on Facebook marketing, or you could be more concentrated on your efforts. Because I think that if we do Facebook marketing, and again, you're getting lost in the shuffle with so many other people out there doing that this gives you a better dollar for dollar average, I believe. And I've played with the numbers a lot. So really interesting you brought that up, because that's been a direction I've been looking at going in for raising capital. Because, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, you and I are only a function of the capital, right?
Yeah.
We can't do anything. We can't buy anything unless we have that capital available, or that capital is there. So to deliver a good product, a good return, a good asset management team, you are just growing that. And then the other thing I just want to say real quick is, I think a lot of times people get hung up on the dollar amount it's going to cost. Oh my God, $15,000 to do an event. Well, if you underwrite it in your model and the deal pays for it, who cares?
Totally.
Right? Because if you can still deliver the return for the investor, then it's worth spending the marketing dollars, because you should have some marketing dollars in your underwriting anyhow.
Yep, you do. And so quality over necessarily quantity sometimes. Right. And this is what I tell people: when you're raising capital, you have to be really careful, because your reputation's on the line. If a deal goes south, people are going to look at you because they trusted you when you raised capital.
Right.
On the flip side, my reputation's also on the line. People love to talk about how they're making money. And so when they say, yeah, I own a 12-park portfolio and I'm making this much on my returns, then I just get referrals as well.
Yeah. So a lot of times I talk to people about, having a really good elevator pitch, right? So you're networking, you're at a networking event, you meet somebody, you obviously are going to be curious about that person, but at some point they're going to ask you about yourself and who you are and what you do. Do you have a good elevator pitch that you say, when somebody says, "Hey, Jill, who are you? What do you do?"
Yeah, I have a fund for mobile home parks, and I help people get double to triple digit returns on investing in real estate.
I think that that's probably a great. I know that if you were to say that to me at a networking event, I would be like, "What did you say about those returns?"
And I'm also going to show you how we can save on your taxes.
Yeah.
And then backed by real estate is really what it is.
I think when people look at raising capital, there's so many systems and techniques out there to do that. You just have to start to implement things. And the more you implement, I look at it as fishing, the more lines you have in the water,
Totally.
the more fish you're going to catch, right?
Yes.
So a little bit about what you're working on these days from an acquisition standpoint.
Yeah, we just closed on a park in Globe, Arizona. It was 102 units. And then I got a call from my underwriter just yesterday that we are on our way to potentially take down a 12 park portfolio in North and South Carolina. So that'll be probably, I want to say that one's an $8 million raise in the next 3 months I'll do. So yeah.
Interesting. Good for you. Well, it sounds like you guys are having fun doing what you're doing.
Yes.
How many units do you have under management?
My partner, he owned 7 and then he sold them when he started the fund. And so this year is the first time that we've opened it up to the public. So we have 102 currently, and then looking at this 12 park portfolio. So
sometimes it's good to clean house. I tell people that with multifamily too, that at some point it's good to, cycle your deals and put new deals in place.
And that's the exact word we use. We went through a full cycle with multiple parks and saw the process before doing the fund of this is how we acquire it, this is how we update it, this is how we refi, this is how we sell. Yeah. Okay, we have a proven concept. Now let's go raise capital for other people.
So what would you tell somebody today as a new investor in mobile home parks, self-storage, multifamily, who's raising capital outside of friends and family? So how would you coach somebody today, and what would you say to them about, hey, do this, or your mind needs to be around this?
It comes down to your team. There was a woman the other day that said, hey, I want to do multifamily. And I said, she's like, but I need to learn how to raise capital. And I said, okay, do you want to do multifamily or do you want to raise capital? And she looked at me and I was like, well, do you want to find the deals or do you want to find the money? Because you got to pick one or the other. And then you need to go find the other person that has the other thing. So for myself, I knew I really wanted to raise capital, but what I needed was where are people going to put their funds? Okay, I need to find the partner that has the deals that's really good at that area. So finding the people, finding out what you're really good at, and then bringing that value to someone else who's already light years ahead of you. And the analogy I'll leave with that I like to tell people is a lot of people take these courses or they're in these different programs and then they want to just go out and buy their first deal or go raise capital for their first project. And I tell them, think of a doctor. He just graduates med school. Guess what? He still shadows another doctor for a long time. And he has someone holding his hand before he even does his first surgery, right there, watching. And he's not even making money, but he's learning from someone who's highly educated and highly successful in that skill they're trying to learn. So when you're just getting started, I'd rather you pass on 100 deals before you do your first one because you're working with someone who's already experienced in that area.
100%. That's awesome. Well, listen, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being here today. I always like to ask, are you reading anything right now? book-wise that you're learning something from.
Yes, I am. Since I am doing these investor dinners, I'm reading the book Pitch Anything.
Oh, that was a great book.
And it's just, teaching me how to hold the frame, stay in control of the conversation. And it's really helped on my individual calls when I'm pitching an investor, like on a Zoom call, setting the tone really early on, saying, hey, this is what our phone call is going to look like. This is what I need you to tell me. This is what I'm going to tell you. Let's see if we can collaborate. If not, we'll kind of go our own ways. But it's kind of taking authority, leading the conversation, and ultimately it really has helped seal some of my deals.
That's awesome. Good for you. So, Jill, how do people get in touch with you if they want more information about Sonos or what you're doing and your fund?
You can go directly to our site if you want to check out sonoscapital.com. You can connect with me on Instagram. It's on the screen down below, or even just shoot me an email directly at jill@sonoscapital.com.
Awesome. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. I know my listeners will appreciate it as well, because there's some good nuggets in what we talked about today.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jill. And everybody have a great week. Remember, the summit's coming up October 17th and 18th. Get your ticket. Go to multifamily24.com. You're not going to want to miss this year's event. I'm going to say it again, just buckle up, because the speakers and the lineup is going to give you everything that you need to go out and get started in the multifamily space. Thanks again, Jill. Appreciate it, and look forward to talking with you.